Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Patreon podcast. This week I wanted to talk about the idea of beginner's luck. Now, I'm sure you or somebody you know have probably experienced this in some form or another over your creative lifespan, but I wanted to kind of just go over the basics of it before I dive into the idea of it. And really what this is somebody just starting out on a creative project or in a creative endeavor. So just learning how to paint or learning how to write music in FamiTracker or whatever, even streaming or some other programming creative outlet. And their first or second attempts just turn out really good, like surprisingly good. I've heard some people who responded to me through the How to Use FamiTracker series who like, this is the first song I wrote in FamiTracker. I'd love for you to check it out and listen to it. And it's like surprisingly really good. Like it should be on Spotify and super listenable. And I think that obviously sometimes these people have skills in music before they go into FamiTracker, but some people start their music journey in FamiTracker and they're still really good. And I really wanted to dive into the idea as to why this could happen. Because it's a fairly ubiquitous thing. Like it tends to happen more often than not, where somebody who's just starting out kind of just has the perfect storm that creates something really cool. And I think the main reason why this is because the people who are just starting out don't necessarily have a whole lot of affinity towards the rules of the framework that you're starting out. So like music theory or color theory or design theory or any of these other things. So you're not limited to the rules. So you basically just do what feels or sounds or looks good without regards to how or why it sounds or looks like that. And I think that's really the main part. And I kind of want to go into more detail on the rules in a future episode. But for now, I just kind of wanted to talk about beginner's luck and how you can still employ it even when you're not a beginner. And basically what happens is when you first start something out, your growth is like exponential. You get way better really fast. But then that kind of plateaus out and you just start learning very slowly. And that can be really frustrating. But when you kind of embrace that feeling of beginner's luck again, it gives you the feeling where you're basically just working off of feeling again. You're not working off of like knowledge. And I think that there's a lot to be said about just working off the feeling of something instead of employing all the knowledge that you've learned over the past weeks or months as you've gotten more familiar with your creative work. Now, the one issue with this, and like the main reason why people don't often do this, is because it often takes a lot longer. Because you aren't leaning on those tried and true rules. You're essentially just kind of bushwhacking and finding your own path. And there's a lot of value to finding your own path, I feel, both from a creative standpoint and from a personal standpoint. That's how you find your style and your just motivation to keep working as a creator. So I think that's really it, where I just wanted to kind of look into the idea of beginner's luck, because I'm sure it's been documented before, and I'm sure a lot of people have talked about it before, but it's something that I haven't talked about, and it's really interesting to kind of look into that a little bit more. So I hope that you found this episode interesting, and thank you so much for being a Patreon supporter. I really do appreciate that. So that's everything I have. I'll talk to you next week. Be remarkable.